Now, changes are on the way soon at the Tote, the racing industry's pool betting system, with the current owner Betfred about to hand over part of the operation to a group of people professionally involved in racing. This consortium, which comprises owners and breeders, is called Alizeti, and its Chairman Eamonn Wilmott joins us now on the phone. Morning to you, Eamonn.
Morning.
Now, the Tote was acquired by the bookmaker Betfred from the government in 2011. So what has now happened that enables you to get involved at this precise moment in time?
We've agreed a deal with Betfred. So we've bought a stake in the company, which will mean that we will also have the option to buy the entirety of the Tote over the next few years, which we're very excited about. So it's a commercial deal, and we're going to make very significant investments into the Tote, and we're going to revitalise a 90-year-old brand.
Yeah, so what difference can you make to the racing industry as owners and breeders yourselves if you were to completely own the Tote 100%?
Well, it's something where, around the world, there's very few racing jurisdictions that are strong and successful without a good Tote. And so the people behind this, we have owners that own over 1,000 horses in training globally. They care passionately about UK racing. And so they've come together to take what is a solid business. It's a good business, and it's a business that we see has massive potential. But what it doesn't really have, it doesn't have a 21st century digital offering and engagement with the public. And so the skills that the team that we've put together can bring is really to sort of transform this sleeping giant. And by doing that, and then by globalising that can allow lots of money to flow back into the grassroots of racing.
Yeah, and I'm sure. Rupert, I was going to say, we love our play spots, don't we, Rupert, and that sort of thing, and the Scoop 6, the big Saturday afternoon bet. So are you a bit worried, Rupert, that things might change for the worse?
What I don't understand is we've got the BritBet thing coming on. How it seems a muddied water. The intention's clear. How is it going to work when you've got BHA got their own system? Are you going to be able to link with them and what they're doing, and then you can be the dominant force, or are we going to have two different systems, and then will that have a watering down effect? How do you see the long-term picture in this working out?
Well, a couple of things there. Firstly, I couldn't agree more about the play spot. I think that the play spot is part of a sort of a racing institution. It's a brilliant way to keep people involved over multiple races, and that chat after the third race, you're still alive, and not too bad. So the play spot is one of the brands that we've gone out and bought because we think it is iconic, and that goes with the Scoop 6 and other things there. Look, we're in conversations with BritBet. Our complete and utter goal is to build one pool for UK racing, everyone coming together for the Tote, and so that is absolutely our goal. And that's not just for the UK, but we want to make sure in all of our conversation with international partners, so Hong Kong Jockey Club and Tabco in Australia, they are all committed to the fact that UK racing is world class. It's something that is admired around the world. But everyone understands there need to be one pool, and that is absolutely our goal and our focus.
So on that basis, is BritBet then floundering, and that you will just sort of step into the breach because you've already got the infrastructure, but you've also got the will to bring it into the 21st century? Well,
I mean, obviously, I wouldn't say at all that BritBet is floundering. Where we know the people there, have known a lot of people there for many years. So what we want to do is to work in a successful partnership. That's absolutely our plan. I mean, one of the things I would say is that there has to be one focus, which is liquidity. Liquidity is the key to the success of any pool business, and I think that everyone understands that. And getting that is not just technology; it also requires a lot of funding, and it requires a lot of partnerships. So I'm hopeful. That I'm pretty sure that a solution will be found that is for the best interests of UK racing.
And in the longer term, though, Eamonn, how important is it for the Tote to have a major presence on the high street as well as on racecourses? Do you feel that you need to be more visible than you are at the moment?
Okay, well, on that, so part of our acquisitions, we're buying Tote Direct, which puts us into all of the shops in the high street, so that is part of our acquisition. But I think, quite frankly, that the future is in people's hands. Or people's pockets, which are really looking at there. So, we have to be digital. People want to place bets via their phones and via their various devices, PCs, etc., and tablets. So, I think, to be honest with you, that's over the next 5-10 years. If we don't solve that, I think we're going to be in trouble, and that's going to be our absolute primary focus.
Eamonn, thank you very much for joining us this morning. It's Eamonn Wilmott of Alizeti. They're going to acquire 25% of the Tote from Betfred in the very near future. And as you heard there from Eamonn, he sees digital as being the future. And who knows? I mean, what do you think, Rupert? Further down the line, are we going to have high street bookmakers, do you think? Can you see a vision maybe in 10 years' time where they don't exist?
I do, and obviously with the FOBTA ruling, that seems to be the driving force, and people's betting habits are very different. Yes, there is a core market who go to the high street and still will bet and like the atmosphere of that, but I think that's an increasingly older audience. Basically, everybody else, anyone who's 20-something and 30-something, it's on the phone. That's the way they bet. My children all do that. That's the way they do it, and it is a digital age. But clearly, there is a lot of politicking going to have to go on behind the scenes to ensure that Eamonn's good intentions, and BritBet and their team, wanted to take it on, but suddenly now we have two heavyweight players. We've got a standoff happening here, and something has got to give to ensure that we're not left with a sort of piecemeal here and a piecemeal there. And that's my worry, if their heads can't come together to create one innovative pool that will be embraced by punters not only here but around the world, which is the way he was talking.
Yeah, and some of those very popular Tote bets, we mentioned there the play spot, for example, where you've got to find a horse to, basically finish in the first 3 and the first 6 races, although it changes with
I love that. I love it.
We love the play spots, don't we? And occasionally it throws up an enormous dividend, doesn't it? So sometimes it's £8.50, but then sometimes you get a surprise and it's 5,000 quid.
But it's the best bet for the sort of even the non-racing fan. You go racing and you say to them, just have a play spot. It's not ridiculous. You can have it as cheap as you like, but it's a simple way of keeping people involved. It's probably the most effective bet to introduce people to a race day, and that's why it needs to be enhanced. And then you get to start to play at the others once you understand that. And okay, if all the favourites come in, you're not going to get much back, but you've had an interest in the whole day, and that's what racing has to look at to make sure people get what is so special about a race day, and that is part of the fun of the fair.
Yeah, we love the play spots, and so does everybody I know who's ever tried it. And I think it's also very important that a bet like the Scoop 6 survives. This is where you have to predict the winners of 6 televised terrestrial TV races on a Saturday afternoon, because there, for your £2, you can win $1 million, and that's the sort of thing that will draw people in, isn't it?
Absolutely. And it's more likely to do that than winning the lottery. I just think, racing has a habit of shooting itself in the foot politically behind the scenes with too many vested interests. And right now, clearly the Betfred deal, but that was allowed to happen, and it was a perfectly legitimate decision. But clearly now racing wants to take control. And yet that's going to possibly lead to problems because there are vested interests coming from the outside who want to take it on as well. So it's another headache for administrators as they try and secure racing's funding. And they've got to get this right, bearing in mind that the FOBTA ruling means that a lot of, the levy will yield less now.
Yeah, but good to hear that we have a group of racing professionals there who have got the interests of racing at heart there, and using the money that they get from the Tote in order to pump it back into racing and make the product better and more prosperous. So interesting to hear about those proposals there by Alizeti, and thanks to Eamonn for joining us this morning.